Hi, welcome to the Wired
and Rewired podcast, a podcast all about the hit HBO series, The Wire.
I'm Chris, and this is my 1000th time watching The Wire.
And this is Ellie. It's my first.
If you're new to the Force or a longtime veteran, we think you'll find something here to enjoy. Today, we cover Season 2, Episode 2, Collateral Damage, and we start, as always, by busting a recap. Major Valchek gets back at... I'm going to pause it. This is from the Apple TV episode listing. Oh. So, good job, Apple TV. Okay. This is like a paragraph. Okay, ready? Here we go.
Yes.
Major Valchek gets back at Sabotka for the church gift fiasco, and a feud begins, and Valchek ups the ante by asking Deputy Commissioner Burrell for a detail to go after Sabotka. Avon Barksdale continues to run his empire from a prison cell, counseling his nephew D'Angelo and going after a guard who is harassing the organization's convicted hitman Weebay. On the waterfront, Port Police Officer Beatrice Russell gets stuck investigating the contraband found in the Greek's container. McNulty lends a hand with the investigation, albeit for vindictive reasons. Ultimately, Detectives Bunk and Moreland... Bunk and Moreland? That would be a pretty good TV show. Detectives Bunk Moreland and Lester Freeman are assigned to help Russell investigate the deaths. They're bringing the band back together from episode 1. This is written by David Simon and directed by Ed Bianchi. Bianchi, who did, as I said, Season 2, Episode 1. So, and it premiered on June 8th, 2003. All right, that was a substantive recap. We're now a half an hour into the show. All right, so Ellie, why don't you bust out that epigraph?
The epigraph. They can chew you up, but they gotta spit you out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we will... Oh, and that actually brings up a topic that I did want to mention. So, in the first season, we covered how the epigraph played out throughout the episode. And we kind of skipped over that for some reason. There was so much backstory and exposition going on. I think we just kind of
new characters.
Yeah, and so last week was Ain't Gonna Be Like It Was. And I just thought we should call out that we were aware of it, but, we kind of glossed over it. So,
we could have done better.
Yeah, so whereas the union, it was very obvious. Mm-hmm. Or they were kind of talking about how it wasn't going to be like that. We didn't have any context for it. Yeah. But, of course, we did have context for the police.
Oh, absolutely.
And so bringing all the characters back, and Daniels is in the basement. He's not doing actual police work anymore.
Yes.
And McNulty's on the boat, and he's not doing murder work. So,
yes.
I wasn't sure if there was anything else from the police side. Oh, and Kima, I guess, right?
Right, so, and her desk job.
And then, of course, on the Barksdale side, their whole operation is now turned up upside down. So,
exactly. Yeah,
so just kind of interesting. It's just a reminder that, that even though the outcome of season 1 might have seemed like the Barksdales got out scot-free with some minimal impact. Right. There's still consequences, and it's not going to be like it was before. So yeah. So it's just very interesting. I thought to me, that the things keep changing, and people can try to hold on to what was, but ultimately it's a lot of it's out of your control and things like that. So. Right. Anyway, I just want to make sure we didn't forget. But it was our first game dinner, so we got to give us a little grace. Okay. So with that, anything else about episode 1 before we...
Yeah, well, actually, not this episode 1, but I was just listening to, our recap of episode 1, season 1, and I had forgotten that McNulty says in that episode that he doesn't want to do something like evidence control or Marine unit, and the diesel fumes make him sick. Yep. And I was like, oh my God. Oh, they circled around on that so well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I had forgotten that. So, there you go. And he's telling it to Landsman. I'm just like, oh, my God. Yeah. Yeah.
No, they just glossed right over it.
They did, yeah.
There was one other, actually, I'm reaching a little bit, but speaking of that, you just reminded me of something. So we talked about in our episode 1 about Bunk and McNulty in the bar, and he brings up the bridge over the River Kwai, and they're just like really talking in sync and things like that. And then there's a bar scene between the two of them, and Bunk says, I need Omar. And McNulty's like, who? Yeah. And we talked about like why McNulty was doing that, but doesn't it feel like it didn't feel like the same how it was before. Exactly. So I just thought that was another
totally
component.
Different dynamic.
So we're going to cancel this episode. We're just going to talk about season. Okay, no, just kidding. But I did want to. So we're going to go into the previous predictions, and I have to ask you now, Ellie.
Yeah.
I need you to look me in the eye.
I'm looking you in the
Listener,
eye.
she is looking me in the eye. You need to tell me now
Yes.
if you are watching ahead.
I'm not watching ahead. I swear
Okay.
on
Hand to God. She's got
everything
hand to God.
that is good and holy.
Because when I was Ellie is reading, is just saying, here are my predictions. And I'm like, well, that's interesting. That's interesting. So I don't know what to say about that. And I'm just like trying to hold off. And of course, but you nailed it. Like Beattie and McNulty are going to meet. And then they're going to connect the two cases. I was like, what?
Well, you gotta keep them. I'm not watching it like a regular watcher anymore.
So,
I'm thinking very, strategically about what's happening here.
Well, so of course, like I was just like blown away by that. So that was one. So of course, bang on that one. Well done.
Me.
You did say Frank is going to get grilled. He was not in this episode. So there was obviously a response from Frank, and the Spiros gives it to him a little bit. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So in some way, you weren't off, but there was a response, but it wasn't. He wasn't being. I think you were suggesting he was going to get grilled by the police.
Yeah.
So he wasn't there, but there was something. So that I'm gonna say like, not exactly, but also not off by a lot. Not sure about Barksdale and Roberto. So of course, but we know a little bit more about that. Mm-hmm. And then finally, Gant case need to find evidence, and that didn't really the Gant case. I don't even think really came up too much. Other than Bunk trying to get
Omar again. Yeah.
So okay, and then I did want to mention one other thing. You mentioned last week how you thought everything was cold, and in reading, All the Pieces Matter, they were filming in Baltimore in January. Oh, so of course you were right on the money there. And Amy Ryan had this whole thing about how she had like 17 layers on in there because they're in these like metal shipping containers. They're just freezing cold.
They look like they're freezing.
Yeah. So, okay. So that covers that. So we can get on with it. But do want to, as always, we ask, do you have any initial questions, things that didn't make sense to you from this episode?
I will ask you in context when we get to them because the answer is yes.
Okay. Well, then, let's get started.
All right, so here's the thing. I think that I found 4 main storylines that I would like us to pursue here. Mm-hmm. So the Barksdale crew and what's going on with them, the Jane Doe case with Beattie and McNulty. We've got Sabotka versus Valchek, and then the storyline, which I like to call Don't Mess with the Greeks. We also have a little bit of, more information about Ziggy and Daniel. So I think I'm going to go with it that way, if that sounds good.
Let's do it.
Okay, so maybe should we start with the Jane Doe case? Because the opening scene is with Beattie.
Yeah.
And she is giving the download to the higher-ups there at the Port Authority. And, we find out it's 13 bodies, all female, all younger women. And they find out that the air pipe that was installed for them was crushed. So it was going out the top of the shipping container. It was crushed. They think it was crushed in the offloading process and that it was an accident. We meet a new character, the medical examiner, Dr. Fraser. Was he in the last episode?
He was not in the last episode.
Okay.
He was
have I seen him before?
Yes, you have.
Okay.
Yeah, he was the medical examiner in season 1, episode 2, when Gant is lying on the table.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we haven't seen him very much.
No.
He's got more of a role for sure.
Hmm?
Okay, so Dr. Fraser, we find out there are no IDs, so they don't know who the women are, but there's some luggage that they can look at, and they are trying to figure out whose issue it is to deal with. So this is what's going on through this whole episode. Does it belong to customs? Is it the state police? This is what they're trying to figure out with this situation. All right, so we leave them. We go to McNulty and Bunk, who are eating crab in the break room.
Sorry, do you mind? Do you want to just go through these and then come back, or
however you want to do?
I just feel like there was something very, I don't know what the word is, because you're talking about like how they were trying to decide who does what, or who's responsible.
Yeah,
and there's something.
Sad, dude.
Yeah, there's something.
It's so sad.
Exactly, and so I guess I feel like we need to pause for a moment and just think. It's really difficult because I think on the one hand, as a person, you think someone needs to care that these women died coming over
and say we're gonna figure this out. We owe that to these people.
And what's the root cause, and why were they coming over to begin with, and how did they end up in the container? And yet I also see, like, I don't know, I'm coming off of just an argument with my dad about, he was a lawyer, about the legal system and the incentives and so on. So I'm a little bit cynical right now. And I just think, like, unfortunately, who, like, does the public care about this? And if the public doesn't really care, if they're just like, well, they shouldn't have been, whatever, then the organizations that we sort of pay taxes to and so on, they're like, why are you spending taxes on this thing when I have my streets or whatever else and things like that? So I can totally see why, for the agencies, the noble cause, there's no incentive to doing it. They just want to get it off their books and make it look like they're earning the public trust. And I was listening back to when we first kind of got introduced to Burrell, and I thought, I don't think Burrell started out as being this sort of, pencil pushing kind of do whatever I can to climb the ladder, but that's where he is now. And I feel like these agencies probably same thing, is that either they were like, they had noble intent, but ultimately they realized that there's a path of least resistance, and doing the noble thing isn't that.
Nope.
And so you just think, like, they're going to do the right thing and we're going to see some justice, but ultimately they just have to kind of figure out, what's the way to get this resolved the most easily, and just handing it off to somebody else or getting it with the least amount of paperwork is going to be the way to do it. Yeah. I mean, and the other part of it is, it wasn't clear at all that this was intentional. That not at this moment. So just very, but it does feel like nobody even bothered to ask, like, is there a way for us to know whether this was, no. Clearly cargo shifted and they died.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's good enough for me.
It's paperwork for you guys, and there you go.
Yeah. So anyway, so that part, it just felt very, sad, and, Beatrice Russell's just sitting there, and I feel like for her, she's feeling it. Right. This is her first time. Oh, sorry. That was the other point I was going to make, was they've probably seen this kind of situation more than a few times. Yeah. And so for them, this is like, we've dealt with this before. And maybe for them in the past, it was like it did turn out to be an accident. So there's like, it's an accident. We've seen it before, and it's probably the same thing again. And you can't stop it on the other side. So anyway, so that's sorry. That was supposed to be a short thing, but going on. So okay, so that's my sad feeling about all the dead ladies. And now let's move on to Bunk and McNulty in the box.
In the box, they are eating some crab that McNulty has brought. And the line, special kind of asshole. I really loved that. So
if you're going to be an asshole, be a special kind of asshole. Be a special
kind of asshole, McNulty's really trying to stick it to Rawls by making the Jane Doe, the original one that was in the water, their problem, right? And Cole's problem, unfortunately, that's just collateral damage. And anyways, they're talking, oh my God, Bunk asking McNulty if he's going to eat that crab gut, and then just fucking scooping that shit up in his mouth. Oh my God. That's a scene. Licking his fingers.
Yeah.
Whew. Yeah. That is something.
Do you know what crab gut is? I looked it up.
It's just like the belly of the crab, right? It's like all of the, the main, what's inside the main carapace of the crab.
Well, okay. So
like people eat the legs.
Yeah. That's true. So my understanding is that there's a specific organ called the hepatopancreas. Okay. Which is like it's like a disease fighting organ. Okay. So it's not like crab gut of like eating the intestines where there would be feces and fecal material and stuff. Like it's actually something kind of different. So at least that's how I read it.
It's just like that yellow mushy shit that's in there, right?
No, that's it.
Oh dude, my mom, she's all eating that stuff. Yeah.
I mean, I like how it's called crab gut. It's very descriptive. Of course, it makes sense. So, yeah.
I like how he looks at McNulty with disdain. Yeah, he's not going to eat the crab gut. Yeah, exactly. It's mine then. Anyhow, he does say again, we need Omar. And instantly McNulty notices the 13 girls. I don't know if he's changing the subject or if he really genuinely notices it in the moment. It's kind of convenient. And, he seems to be protecting Omar. He's changing the subject. He's not making eye contact with Bunk this whole time. So it does give you the feeling that he knows something going on with Omar or where he is, and he has made some kind of promise not to say.
Sure. Yeah, I can see why you see that. I mean, I think that there's something interesting too about how he got so fixated on the like this disgusting newspaper.
Yeah, I know.
And he's like,
oh wait, 13 bodies.
Yeah, exactly. That's keeping my attention. So yeah, but yeah, the motive for his reaction when Bunk asked for Omar's, help getting Omar, I thought that was kind of interesting. And of course, like he just continues to push back and just
something
keep
is
it
up
right.
there.
Yeah, so there definitely is.
I don't know what,
and
but
what it will be.
is up.
So yep. So
okay.
I did want to just call out. Of course, then we get I think we get the actual episode title where McNulty calls Cole collateral damage. So that's kind of interesting. And then I'll just also mention that Bunk is in this interrogation room with Jimmy with a case of MGD.
I know.
It is insane.
They're
that is
at
insane.
Work with beer. I mean, crab alone. Oh my God, you're going to stink that place up. But then beers?
Yeah. I mean, maybe they're off duty. I guess maybe they're.
Still, I don't think that you're supposed to be bringing that into.
I mean,
these, office spaces or,
Yeah.
That doesn't seem right.
No, I agree. But I mean, just the fact that they brought the case in, instead of like the case is in the fridge and they bring 2 or 4 beers in or something like that, that would seem reasonable. But boy.
No, it's the whole.
Yeah, that whole scene is really gross.
Yeah. It's a little concerning.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah.
All right. Let me see here. We move on to a new scene with McNulty. Who's the guy that he's in the boat with all the time that's always driving the boat? Do we know who that is? The other Marine police guy with the mustache?
Yeah, I mean, that's his sergeant.
Okay. Well, you can look it up, but his sergeant does point out that he, McNulty does a shit job of tying up the boat. He basically has like lassoed the dock piece of wood there. Anyway, so then we go to Beattie and some of these other Port Authority guys. They are sitting at tables and they are going through the details, and McNulty kind of comes in like he owns the place and starts asking for those details too. And she's like, this is something you're just curious. And he says that he's interested because of the Jane Doe that he found the other day. She says, we've got 13 bodies and 14 bedrolls. Mm-hmm. So
there you go. Ellie got proven exactly right.
So now it's linked, right?
Yep.
So they do find a photo that he finds a photo that looks like his Jane Doe, the one that they fished out of the water. So Beattie takes him into the container that the women were found in and explains what happened with these women who were transported. And this is where we get a little background information. Mm-hmm. We find out about how they are let out of the boat by a shepherd and allowed to walk around and all that. They go to the top of the container too, and it's McNulty who notes that the air pipe looks wrong for how it would have been crushed by another shipping container. And again, she asks, why is the Marine unit interested, or why are you interested?
Yeah.
Right? She's very curious about what he's there for. So I like that first meeting with them.
Oh yeah. I mean, and I think that one of the ways I really like The Wire does this is they allow people to be our proxies.
Yeah.
And so even though Beatrice Russell is very inexperienced in terms of death investigation, she knows all about customs and all of the ways that contraband gets smuggled in and things like that. So and I just really like how McNulty is there to help for us to hear the explanation. And so, and I just really like the way that Amy Ryan delivers it. There's a little bit of like, I don't know. I feel like there's some empathy that she delivers with it, like just how she kind of recognizes that this is kind of a dirty business and what the women were sort of being, smuggled over for. I don't know. There's something about the way that she delivered it where you just really feel for her feeling for them.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah. And now we have I like that. What does the Marine unit have to do with this death? And he's like, not a thing.
Not a thing.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a murder police. He could have just dropped that line there, but anyway.
I know. I kind of wanted him to. So I was just like, tell her that you worked at homicide. That you know what you're doing.
Right. Yeah.
But he holds it back.
Yeah.
Because that's just him.
Yeah. Claude Diggins, by the way, is the other guy in the boat.
Claude Diggins. That's right. Diggins.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. All right. So Beattie and McNulty now go to visit Fraser, the medical examiner, and they show him these close-up photos of the air pipe. And basically Fraser says, okay, yeah, it looks like this is a murder. You guys have got 13 homicides on your hands. So I was kind of like, I mean, he said, like, I don't know. He's like, well, I have to check with my metallurgy guy, but it's homicide.
Yeah.
I don't know. It felt like it was kind of like a quick leap that he didn't want to confirm that before just like going that step yet. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's fine. I mean, we need the story to move along.
I guess like he's probably just looking at it from instinct. It's like, he's not going to write anything into a report, but he doesn't want to slow down the case just because, yeah.
Right. Okay, well, we are now in Rawls' office, and we have Norris there, who is from the Maryland State Police.
Not Norris.
Oh, sorry. That's what I thought his little thing on his little badge said.
It's close. Oh, wait. No, I'm sorry. You're right. It is Norris.
Okay. I was like,
they couldn't come up with a different. Oh,
Norris.
No, you're right. It's okay. Robert Norris. Yeah.
Robert Norris.
But I'm sorry. It was Ed Norris, and I'm like.
Oh,
I wrote it. I wrote down the name. But yeah, exactly. They couldn't come up with a different name.
Like, no, this one works.
Anyway,
we like it.
Yeah.
Anyways, so Norris wants Rawls and the Baltimore police to take the 13 homicides, right? And Rawls says,
Bill, I'm not arguing that the jurisdiction's not technically ours. Patapsco's definitely Port Authority property, and the Port Police have the jurisdiction. That's not in dispute here. Good. But they're not equipped for a death investigation. I mean, you dump 13 bodies on them, you're dumping them on us. MSP's gonna have to pick up that slack, overburdened as we are.
Robbie, I have fought and scratched and clawed for 4 months to get my clearance rate up above 50%. And right now it stands at exactly 51.6%. Do you happen to know what my clearance rate will be if I take 13 whodunits off your hands? 39.4%.
Bill, like I told you...
We did not get to be colonels by being complete fucking idiots, right? Robbie, you poor bastard. You look like you need a cup of coffee.
Nope. And it's kind of funny because he goes out to get him a coffee, and the guys are all watching him with these very intent, worried-looking faces. And, they're trying to see what's going on. And, he goes down the hallway, and he comes back, and he goes by again. And then he's just about to go back in the office door, and he gives them this little fist pump. He's not even facing, but this little fist pump. And then everybody's face is just relief.
Yep.
Because they know that these cases will not be under their jurisdiction.
Yep.
Yeah, again, sad. just more sad. I mean, Rawls is he doesn't want his clearance rate to be ruined by this. 51.6, and he, wants to keep it that way. So it's disappointing.
Yep.
More disappointment.
Yeah. Now, this never occurred to me until I was rewatching it.
Yeah.
Freeman just shows up.
Oh, yeah, I know.
That's the first time we're seeing Freeman.
I know.
There he is.
I know.
There's Freeman. He's back.
In the office.
He's back. So,
I know.
And of course, it's just so great how he's just like, just watching. And
and he's one of the guys.
Yeah, he's just one of the guys there. So that's pretty cool. Now, of course, we knew that he was in Homicide at the end of last season, but it's still kind of, they just drop him in. They don't even make a big celebration. So
I know.
Yeah.
He deserves more than that.
Truly.
All right, so where are we? McNulty, Beattie, and Frazier. Let's see here. Yeah, McNulty says this case needs a real murder police. And Frazier says, you just want to fuck Rawls.
Yep.
And I think it's both.
Oh,
actually.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I really do think that he knows that this is a situation that requires homicide investigators, that people that know what they're doing. All right. So they are trying to calculate how much oxygen the women needed too. So they actually do some, they say the compartment size is 13 by 7 by 7, and they think about how many liters of oxygen the women need. And the person they have helping them there is from the State Bureau of Mines.
Yeah.
Not mines, but mines. So I thought that was kind of interesting too. Like that actually makes a lot of sense that you'd have somebody who is familiar with mines to come over and tell you how much oxygen you have in a enclosed space.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of
and at the time, it just kind of sounded like a funny joke line, but of course that makes perfect sense. Like, you would want that because of course
kind of awesome.
You're underground, and how many people can we have in this cave?
Yeah.
It
was intriguing to the science loving part of me.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now that McNulty has this information, we see he is sending a letter that has to deal with the amount of oxygen that was available and the suffocation that happened, and he is faxing it off. And that's kind of all that we know about that. But the next thing we see is that we have the Maryland State Police, right? They are the ones who apparently were the recipients of that information, that letter, right? And so what they are coming to Rawls now, I guess, and they're saying that this ship, it was, I think it's, what is it called? The Atlantic Light?
Yeah, Atlantic Light.
The Atlantic Light, which carried this container past the Key Bridge at 2300 hours, laid up anchor at 2,000 yards off Patapsco until 0600 when it docked. And because of that, it is under the jurisdiction of the Baltimore police.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is bullshit.
Those computations were checked and confirmed by the medical examiner's office. They're accurate for time of death to within a 3-hour window.
Yeah, so you say.
Your own man in the City Marine unit did the measurements on the container.
I happen to know my man in the Marine unit intimately, and he's without a doubt the most swollen asshole in American law enforcement. I am not eating 13 murders. No, sir. They were already dead when the container hit the dock, and they were murdered on board ship. That means Baltimore County or Anne Arundel on the other side of the bridge. And if they're further down the bay, then you fellas with Coast Guard can take it. This is not a city problem. Talk amongst yourselves, fellas. One of you is taking this case home tonight.
No, Bill. The Atlantic Light passed the Key Bridge at 2300 hours and laid up at anchor 2,000 yards off Patapsco until 0600 when it docked.
By the map, that's Baltimore City.
And that put the ship in your jurisdiction for the 3-hour window for the time of death.
Bill, you look like you could use a good cup of coffee.
And next thing we see is that these 13 extra Jane Does get added to the board under Landsman's group.
Yeah. Yeah, with the paper like extending down.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of an incredible, act of villainy.
I know.
From McNulty just to
because it already took him. What did they say? That it took him 3 hours to figure out the currents to know that the Jane Doe that was in the water was there. So now he goes through all this extra work to make sure that these homicides, these extra 13 homicides, go to Rawls too.
Yeah, but I mean, but I think you're right. Like, he does want to fuck Rawls, no doubt about it.
Yes.
But I think he's also like, this is the best homicide unit there
there's
is.
no way that anybody else is going to be able to do this job.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is just, and I love how Doc Fraser kind of he just very methodically gets it through it, and and Beattie's reaction, you're just about screwing your boss, and she can't quite understand that. Like, you get the sense that Beattie doesn't have her boss is like, did you check your time card today? Okay, good enough.
She does not have the same kind of vitriolic relationship.
Yep. Yeah. So, and then of course, seeing Rawls so full of himself when he hands off the murders to the guy, to Norris, and then of course he has to eat it. The next meeting. It's very fun because he didn't get too much of that comeuppance in season 1.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Well, at this point, Freeman and Bunk aren't holding it against McNulty too much. They are drinking together at the bar. They are making him take a shot for each of the Jane Does that he has now contributed to their load. And they're kind of telling him about how Landsman and Rawls are not dealing with this so well back at the office, and McNulty loves it. He's getting an erection from it. He loves it so much. And, it's like, well, who the fuck cares? I'm not going back there. So.
Come on now. Motherfucker, you have outdone yourself this time. You ain't never coming back from this. You know that.
Lester, what the fuck can they do to me they haven't done? I'm riding the goddamn boat. Fuck it, I don't give a shit. Here's to Jane Doe 13. All right. 11 more years, whatever bullshit they throw at me. I'm gonna put in my papers, take the pension, and walk.
Yeah. That was a long time to be on the shelf.
Tell me about it, Mr. 13 years.
4 months.
Fuck it. chew you up, and I gotta spit you back out.
Yeah, we talked about this last time about whether McNulty's motivation was about trying to make it clear that he was the best cop and that they needed to bring him back, or if it's just about fucking Rawls. And so, yeah, and I think that we'll just have to, I think he's kind of seeing the realization that, yeah, he has now basically dug his grave and that's the end of it. And, you know, I think for when he said, well, I forget exactly what the line is, but he talks to Freeman and he says, you know, Mr. 13 years, and Freeman says in 4 months, and he just has that look on his face of, you think you can survive, and he did, but he had to adopt dollhouse miniatures or whatever.
Yeah,
else.
exactly.
So,
It was a painful time for him.
Yeah, so, you know, I was trying to think about, you know, of course this is where the epigraph is introduced, but I'm trying to think of, like, I'm not sure where else it kind of showed up. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll get into it.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that part was pretty funny, but to have that line dropped in there and 4 months, I just felt like it really, there was a little bit of seriousness to what Freeman was saying about how he's never going to come back. So just kind of, anyway.
Yep.
All right.
Well, I mean, at the bar, it's all fun, take some shots, but then they go back to work and Landsman ends up putting Freeman and Bunk on the 14 Jane Does instead of Cole. And they are upset about that. They are, they're like, we're not up. It's not our turn. We've got this other case that we're dealing with. And, you know, Landsman tells them Cole's good, but I need my best guys on this. I don't know how much of that is actually what he was doing, or if because he knows McNulty's close to these guys that he wants to do that. Regardless, they are now on that case. And Cole gives them Beattie's info. They're like, is she pretty at least? Yeah. Just like,
yeah. I wrote down yeesh. Yeah. I mean, and sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just, but I mean, you know, Landsman walks this really interesting tightrope in this because on the one hand, he, you know, takes this very serious tone and he's trying not to like insult one of his detectives. Yeah, exactly. But he's basically saying this isn't going to go black if Cole is on the case. Right. So, you know, anyway, it's such a very interesting way that he tried to like navigate this particular conversation. And also like Cole goes from he's like looking like a sad lapdog.
I know.
in Landsman's office, and then he comes out and he's like, you know, good luck in all your endeavors. I'm like, what a dick.
I know.
Like, these guys are doing you the favor of all favors to take this case, and you're acting like this? What the hell, Bob?
I know. It's pretty messed up.
Ray.
Yeah. But it has to go to Landsman and Freeman, or else we don't get McNulty's involvement as much moving forward, probably. You know, like for the story, I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and of course, like, those two together are just a great pair as well. Course, so watch it. If you were just following Cole through this, it would certainly not be as interesting. I mean, although it's interesting to me too that why was there no? I guess Cole almost certainly had a second detective with him on it, because this isn't like a plot point. Solo. Yeah, this isn't really like a plot point, but they always have like two detectives go out, but that other detective was not relevant, so they just didn't include him as part of the story. So could have been Crutchfield or Norris or whoever else, but Cole being the
other Norris.
So, yes, exactly, the other Norris, the correct Norris. Yeah. So and so now. Yeah, but then, she pretty at least. God, Bunk, come on, man. You're a dog.
He is a dog. Yeah. He is a dog, Bunk. All right, well, let me see here. We see McNulty and Rhonda are in bed together. Mm-hmm. It's been a booty call.
Yep.
Yeah. And, you know, she asks, what am I to you? And he says, you know, we're good together. This is it's going to continue to be booty calls. Mm-hmm. And she's upset, but he tells her, you know, if my wife wants to get back together, then I'm going to get back together with her. So, Rhonda, God, you know, you just got to say no to him.
Well, I mean, I think this was her turning point. Like, she goes in the bathroom and she looks
I don't know. I feel like she's had turning points before.
Yeah,
Has she not?
Well, I mean, what was the song?
She seems like she's pissed at him all the time.
Yeah, there is that. What was the song that was playing when they first meet? It's like Too Cool to Be Forgotten.
Yes.
Like that's him. But it's, and then speaking of that, the song playing is called Goodbye to Carolina. So I feel like maybe I'm reading a lot into it.
Okay, all right, yeah.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Like, I don't know. There was that moment when she closed the door and she looks herself in the mirror. To me, that was like, okay, this isn't working out. But then what do I know? We made it clear in that the last time we talked about this that I don't know a thing about women and don't understand anything. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, I just hope she smartens up. That's all I can say.
All right,
I
very
mean,
good.
it's got to be real good to put up with all of that. That's real good. Okay.
I mean, well, might as well, like, on the scale of 1 to 10, well, how was Dominic West behind? Was it?
That's nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, see, there you
It's
go.
up
See?
there. It's up there.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, see.
Yeah, it's in the top third.
Well, then, all right. Okay,
Okay.
good to know.
All right.
So, for just any guys out there, just for comparison, if you want to know, compare your butt to Dominic West's butt,
Yeah,
and then
you'll
that'll tell
know where
you
you stand with me.
exactly.
Okay. All right. Freeman and Bunt go to the Port Authority to talk to Beattie. She tells them she's, been on the phone with Atlantic Light and or whoever is in charge. I guess. And so they have to get Atlantic Light held somewhere so that they can go and check it out. Okay. So let me see here. Next, we see Freeman and Bunk and Beattie, and they are now all at the Atlantic Light. We can see the side of the ship with these stairs going up and ropes hanging down. And they talk to someone there, not the captain.
Correct.
Captain's not there. He gives some backstory about, hey, this is costing a lot of money. It's costing $100,000 a day for this ship to sit here and do nothing. And they say, well, you got a murder investigation. And that is that so far on the Jane Doe cases.
Yeah, I might. I was trying to figure out who the killer cameo is. I like the guy that they interviewed. I thought that he was. I just liked the way he delivered. He seemed very matter of fact.
Yes.
I don't know.
He was believable.
Yeah,
that guy
definitely
works on a
believable.
ship.
Yeah. So anyway.
That guy works.
Oh, but you know what? We're not done with him yet, so I guess I can't give it to him. So, but yeah, it is.
Oh, so it's not a cameo.
I guess
Doesn't count as a cameo.
Anyway, yeah, I got rules. We got rules to this game. So, but yeah, and so okay, that and now that's where they end up.
Okay, well, can we now go to maybe I don't know? Do you want to go to Sabotka versus Valchek or Don't Mess with the Greeks? Barksdale.
You're driving this train, so.
All right. Since we ended at Atlantic Light, hold on a second. Let me do a little Sabotka versus Valchek.
Sure.
And then we'll get into the Greeks because they start out together and then they branch off, right? Because the second scene in the episode is, we have Frank Sabotka coming to talk to the Greek, Spiros. And before he gets in there, you see that there is this other guy who's talking to him. He's got glasses. He looks older, right? And he kind of, when they come in, when Frank and Nick come in, then that guy goes off somewhere, right? So he's important, but you don't know what's going on there. Anyways, Frank sits down with him. He is livid. Spiros tries to explain what went wrong. It was an accident. Frank complains about not knowing what's in the cans, and Spiro says, you don't ask because you don't want to know.
Yep.
Right?
Get the right message. These girls are dying on my docks. This is how it goes. On my docks, this happened.
I understand how you feel, but we're upset too. Everybody, we're upset. Nobody here wanted this. Uncle Frank, they're saying it wasn't on purpose.
You could have told me there were girls in that fucking can. You could have told me, so I didn't just shove them back in the stacks like I did, right? Why the fuck didn't you tell me what was in that motherfucking can?
Now you want to know what's in the cans? Before you wanted to know nothing, now you ask. Guns. Okay? Drugs. Whores. Vodka, BMWs. Beluga caviar. Or bombs, maybe. Bad terrorists with big nuclear bombs. Kidding you, Frank. It's a joke. But you don't ask because you don't want to know.
And Nick is in the back there, and he's kind of trying to not necessarily placate Frank, but keep him from burning a bridge.
Yeah.
It seems to me. So that was kind of interesting. And I was like, I wonder why he is acting in that way. Maybe it's just that he knows they get so much good money from doing this, or he's afraid of what the Greeks can do. Anyway, that was an interesting scene.
That's a good point. No, I think you're right. I think he knows what the relationship with the Greeks bring, and so he's trying to keep Frank reined in. Okay. I also want to just mention, this is kind of a throwaway line, but I think it's really important because Spiro says to Frank, "Before you wanted to know nothing, now you ask."
Yeah.
So it just gives us this idea of like how this relationship started. Almost certainly was them coming to Frank saying, them saying, "We'll pay you to smuggle these off." He's like, "Okay, don't tell me what's in them. I don't want to know. Just tell me what and when and where, and we'll take care of it."
Yeah. And
so now he, I think he probably was thinking it was some kind of contraband,
right?
Drugs or alcohol. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things where it's like, it's a vice, but okay, people are going to get drunk. People are going to do drugs. Exactly. So I'm okay with it. And now he directly, and so of course they're flooding the market with all this stuff and people are suffering, but Frank doesn't actually ever see that. No. Right? He never makes that direct connection. No. And he may even have the veil of, well, you chose to do this, but now his direct, he's encountering the consequences directly. And so of course it really throws him off there. Yeah. So, and so Nick, of course, is trying to, keep that from clouding, or ruining the relationship, as you said. So, and so I think that there's something really interesting about Nick's character as well, in that he's trying to maintain this civility and just keep it from going off the rails. He sees the broader picture as well a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, let's follow Frank. He's going back to work now, and somebody, I think it's Horseface. Mm-hmm. Okay, Horseface.
Yeah.
That's an interesting nickname. All right, Horseface comes in. It's hard to say with a straight face. Yeah. He's complaining about a broken customs seal, and, they're talking about some cases of vodka that may have been taken from the shipping container. Oh, no, just a couple. Oh, it's actually 4. Anyways, somebody else comes in. I don't know who this is. That's Ott. Mm-hmm. Okay. Comes in to complain about they're all getting ticketed. Yeah. Right. And so we go outside and we see Carver.
It's Carver. He's back.
Yeah. And Carver is then demoted.
No.
He's not demoted?
No.
How come he's not in plain clothes then?
Well, he's a sergeant of patrol.
Okay.
So it's just a different uniform.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So, but it sounds like it's a crappier job for sure if he's giving out tickets and not working homicides.
I mean, it depends on your, Valchek laid it all out.
Yeah, that's true.
It's about climbing the ladder.
Yes. So anyways, they're like, what gives? We park here all the time. It's never an issue. And Carver says, it's my boss, Valchek. And he brings up something we heard a lot in the first season, which is chain of command.
Yep.
Yeah. So it was kind of interesting to hear that come back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So not good. Now we know something is up.
Rear tag not entirely visible?
Yeah, at the tow bar said hi.
Emergency access blocked? Are you kidding me? We've been parking on the side of the building since the fucking ships had sails. Come on, pal, what the fuck?
It ain't me. It's my boss.
Who's your boss?
Valchek, Southeast District.
Stan Valchek?
The district commander, yeah.
That sawed-off piece of shit. Why the hell's he fucking with us?
Hey, listen, whatever it's about, you definitely got the man's attention. Because word comes down this morning from my shift lieutenant, we're supposed to ride past your union hall twice a day in paper cars.
You work for a gaping asshole.
No more than one, actually.
You know we're not going to put up with this shit, right? You know we're going to go downtown on it.
Take it all the way to the mayor's office. I can't blame you. Believe me out of it. It's chain of command. I mean, I got to live with this son of a bitch too, right?
Sorry, I'm going to... If you don't mind, I'm just going to... Did you have more about this scene?
No, I don't.
Because I was going to... She's turning her page.
I'm turning my page so you know it's your turn.
Yeah. Yeah, don't give a fuck when it's not your turn to give a fuck, Chris. But there's something, I think, the way that I really like that interaction between Frank and Carver because, Frank is like, he's mad, but in a weird way, he's not like I don't know. He's not pissed the way he was pissed at Spiros. And Carver doesn't respond like as if it's an affront to his authority. Yeah. And so I think it's almost like a little bit that Bodhi and Carver relationship kind of thing. It's like you understand how things go. You know, exactly. I got to deal with people too. Yeah. And then of course, like Frank's like, we're going to take this downtown. He's like, go all the way to mayor's office. I don't care. Just leave me out of it. And I just like that because I feel like in a way, Carver could have just said, dude, just do what I tell you. Right. Instead, he's like, here's the deal that you're going to be dealing with. And that's how it goes. So
he was more relatable.
Yeah, exactly. So I just like, and I got to live with the son of a bitch too. And then Frank kind of laughs. I like that too. So it's just one of those enjoyable interactions where you have two people that realize they're both kind of fucked in this situation and they're kind of commiserating.
Exactly. Yeah. Somebody's busting their balls. Okay, so back to the union building. Frank's fielding a call. It sounds like it's about shifts and seniority. We keep hearing about that. And then Horseface comes in. Yep. And tells him that his sweetheart is there. And he pulls down his lower eyelid, which I had to look that up. And that's like, it's in Mediterranean cultures, it means to be alert or to be watchful. When somebody pulls down their lower eyelid like that. Yeah. Okay. It's like, be alert. So, right, like your sweetheart, it's, be careful. It's Valchek. So, Valchek tells Frank he's pretty upset about the whole window situation and tells him, you guys take the spot in the rectory. We're going to put the window that I've had, ready to go in the nave. And Frank's not okay with that. And he goes on a pretty nice little diatribe, letting Valchek know that everybody he knows has always thought that Valchek's basically an ass. And Valchek leaves angrily and hawks a loogie on the floor before he walks out.
Awful.
Ugh, God.
Yeah.
So gross.
I mean,
can't think about it.
That is as disrespectful as it gets.
It is.
Yep. No, it was a great monologue.
You get the message?
Message?
I had people working on a window for the nave up St. Casimir's since Easter. You know that? I took money from half a dozen different people, told them where it was going to go.
You tell Father Lewandowski?
I was going to surprise him.
Yeah, you surprised everybody. Now there's one window too many, right?
Well, here's the thing. Father Lou says he could take another window in the rectory on the second floor.
Good for you.
No, good for you, Frank. You don't want my finger in your eye. You better do what's right here.
What's right, huh? What's right would be for you to come down here to my house like a decent human being and ask a common courtesy. But that's not you. It's not your way. My old man always said you were a half-assed punk over at Holy Redeemer as a kid. And my sister said you were a pain-in-the-ass pest at all them CYO dances when none of the girls would even look at you. And damn near everyone down the point said when you got your badge, it was too much for anybody named Valchek to have even a patrolman's drag. And sure enough, you've been an official asshole every day since.
And I'll just mention here, so Chris Bauer in All the Pieces Matter talked about Al Brown, who was the actor who played Valchek. Okay. And he said, there's just something kind of amazing about this, what he said. He said, I loved Al and was obsessed with his accent, a very nice guy. I thought there's no way this guy could be an actor. He's got to be the real thing. It was as if they went and handed some commander at the nearest precinct a couple of pages and told him, go. He's one of those Peter Lorre types who just stands there and talks, and the audience is transfixed. There were a lot of those bastards on the wire, naturals. So, and I just, it's really quite something, because when you watch that scene, it looks like those guys just hate each other's guts, to the core. Yes. And of course, and I think I'm going to say this probably a few times, but Chris Bauer as an actor, he's a tremendous actor. Just in a quick aside, they just gave him the part. It sounds like he didn't even audition. Oh, really? They just knew him and they liked him and they thought he had the right thing. And so of course he tried to treat that with as much respect as possible. Sure. But it's I love the scene, but I also kind of hate it because it's just like for him to walk out talking to Luke. It's oh my God, I don't ever want to see that scene
on
again,
a clean floor. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Ooh,
yeah. So
just cleaning that up.
Yeah. Now, here's my question.
Alrighty.
I've seen this a million times, and so of course I know where the story goes. So I've thought about, twists and turns. So let me ask you, how do you gauge Sabotka's reaction to Valchek in the moment?
did I think that he got more upset than he needed to be in that moment?
Yeah.
A little bit, but I kind of chalked it up to the fact that, like, he's stressed out right now with this other thing going on. So that probably it was a bigger reaction than he would have had if not everything else was going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
but it did make me feel like there was like more long-standing beef.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the fact that he was being called out in front of his other members and stuff too, that also kind of, and cops and, I get the sense there's no love lost there. So I'm guessing that he also couldn't just be like, if the guy's going to be a dick in the union hall, then Sabotka's going to give it back. And that's okay. Yep. I just had to think about that because I've turned it over a bunch of times in my head. And I wanted to get a fresh perspective. So, okay, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Okay. So Valchek, next thing, is talking to some portly fellow, white-collar guy. Mm-hmm. It looks like they're, I don't know, in like some kind of a development office or something like that. I couldn't really tell. And he's basically saying, how does Sabotka have the money for this, right? And then the guy he's talking to points out that they got this very expensive guy to lobby for them. Yep. And, that was an expense. It just doesn't add up for how many members they have, dues-paying members they have, and how much money those guys make. Anyways, as Valchek is heading out, we see a model of like this high-rise condos, the granary, right? What we've heard about. And there is mention of Burrell as possibly being police commissioner.
Yeah, so that developer is named Andy Krawczyk.
Okay.
And I mean, not much to know about that, but yes, you're right. So, but obviously for a developer like that, probably well connected politically.
Right.
So he is aware of the lobbyists that the IBS has hired.
Yeah.
So
okay.
That and so and it's kind of I think it's such an interesting comparison, right? You compare the Union Hall and how it looks to the green or to the Krawczyk's office, and it just looks very different. So of course, for the IBS to hire a lobbyist that Krawczyk knows about, that's got to mean an elevated level of money. So but it does connect back, as we talked about, coincidentally to dredging the canal and the grain pier.
Exactly.
So that's what that was still about. So that's why this is important.
Yep. Okay.
Sorry. Last thing though, of course, I love is that Valchek moves like a tree on the model, and then Krawczyk moves it back, which I thought was hilarious. So
Oh, that's such a perfect little touch there.
Yep.
Okay, well, Valchek, he's going all over the damn town. He now goes to visit Burrell, and talks to Burrell about how he could be police commissioner. Oh, there's this other guy. Oh, that's a damn shame. That's racism that they're backing that guy, and let me be a friend to you, he says, right? So let me get some support for you. And Burrell asks him, what do you want in exchange for this? Because he knows how this game goes, right? Yep. And he says, there's these guys in this local union and they seem like they're up to no good. The whole, just a few guys in there. And Burrell asks him, what's he to you? He's an asshole. And just, they're laughing.
Yep.
They're laughing.
Yeah.
Yep. And Burrell says that he will assign a CID. Okay. And that he will get 6 guys for 6 weeks and Rawls gets to pick them. But I don't understand that. Why is Rawls involved? It's not homicide.
I guess I'm not sure what it's investigative department, I guess.
Okay.
So criminal investigation department.
Okay.
I guess. So and that is all under Rawls.
Oh, that's all under Rawls.
Yeah, homicide is just a very specific division.
I got you. Okay. That's what
I mean, homicide's the one that they care about more than anything else, but.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well.
And sorry, we talked about last season when, after the incident, the high rises and Valchek's in the office with Burrell and Daniels and everybody else, and Daniel and Burrell says, Valchek is a necessary evil, and
that's right.
And it's just because he didn't want to be between Valchek and City Hall, and you can see Valchek doing all this stuff to position himself politically.
Yes.
So he doesn't actually have to be a good policeman and put together a good case. He just has to be in the right spot to have the most leverage. So, and you can just see him working that, which is kind of interesting.
I mean, it's exactly what he tells Prez too, right? Like how to line himself up to be in a good position.
Yep.
Ugh, I don't like him.
Yep.
Okay, well, the dock workers are now having breakfast at the bar. Oh my God. They bring in this carton of eggs. I'm like, is somebody going to fry up some eggs? No, they are cracking those damn things into glasses of beer and drinking raw eggs and beer for breakfast.
Yep.
Oh my God. I'm just starting to get heartburn right now just talking about it.
There's a lot of disgusting components.
There's a lot. Yes, this one especially. Zig comes in, right? He is his usual loud self. And he instead has a shot of something in a glass of beer. Oh my gosh. He tells Nick that he's going to get a package. It's dope.
Yep.
And he wants Nick to pitch in some money so they can make more together. And Nick says no, he doesn't want to have any part of it.
Well, you know White Mike from down Curtis Bay?
Yeah.
He's going to stake me into a package.
A package?
Dope, Nicky, dope.
I got work today, Zig.
Yeah, and I'm going to make as much money not working. You see what I'm saying?
So why the fuck you coming to me?
I want you to come in on it with me. You bring in a little cash as money down, my man might give us a bigger package. We turn around, we both get paid.
All right, shit's in, gentlemen. Fuck that shit, Zig. Time to work.
Zig has another shot. Okay, so let's put a pin in that.
Yep.
Thing with Zig there, because we'll come back to that.
Yep.
The guys now go to work because they've had breakfast, and oh my gosh, there's the police, and they are doing breathalyzer tests on these guys.
Yeah.
And is it Ott that comes out and is like, oh, who gets drunk at 8 a.m.? You guys do. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. So they knew exactly where they'd be and where to pull them up. Yep.
Yes. Oh, goodness. So, yeah, Valchek still at work, just being a thorn in the side of Sabotka and his guys. Now, the thing that I put a pin in, Ziggy, right? We later see Ziggy go to this guy, Mike. He tells him that he wants to get some dope to sell. And Mike says, no, you messed up the 2 last ones.
Yep.
So that's kind of all we know about that whole situation. I'm not sure how that's going to weave itself back into the story, but for now it's kind of this dangling bit.
Yep.
Yo, Mikey, stop. No. No, why?
No fucking way, you little rat-faced piece of shit. You fucked up the last 2 packages I gave you.
Mikey, look, man, that wasn't me.
You got money, Zig? You can buy a little weight. You got no money? Go fuck yourself.
Mike, I thought we was friends.
Did you fuck up the last 2 packages?
Sorta.
Are you beat the shit?
No.
Take a walk, my friend.
Yeah, so if you don't mind, I'm just going to jump in here with a couple things. So Dupa, Ziggy calls them Dupa-faced. Dupa means ass in Polish. So just in case you were wondering, that's what that means. So
use that.
Okay, very good. And then I did look up, like, where is the beer and egg? Is that like a thing? And, like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
And it sounds so it goes back a ways, and there's like some actual like legitimate. There were some. Like, they thought it was medicinal. They thought it was like a hangover cure.
Okay.
But it just seems like it's more tradition. And it sounds to me like it was most common during the Depression.
Oh, okay.
Because eggs were pretty common and beer was pretty common.
Okay.
So workers would go and they'd just chug a beer
Really?
with their egg in it, and then they'd go on. And so it just feels like it's more traditional. Even though, like, and so it's also like, I need some protein and I need some carbs or a beer to get through this. So I'm going to start my day that way.
Oh, boy.
I mean, I don't understand it. I mean, it's still a raw egg. You could be chugging a beer, and it's still a raw egg in there.
Salmonella and all that. Ooh, yuck.
And then when Ziggy goes to meet White Mike, so I don't think I'm giving anything away when I say this. In that Ziggy is probably, if you ask people their top 5 most hated characters, I think Ziggy would be at the top, in that top 5, almost universally.
Okay.
And as we talked about a lot last last year when I was doing the killer cameos, the more I hate a character, the more I think that the acting is good.
Right.
And so in this particular scene with White Mike, the way that James Ransone plays Ziggy, to me, like, he is so pathetic.
Mm-hmm.
When he's like, are you beat to shit? Or did you fuck up the last 2 packages?
Yeah.
Are you beat to shit? And he's like, no. And it's just like, it's so pathetic.
Yeah.
And I just feel like, oh my God, I feel, even though Ziggy, you're doing this to yourself, like, stop being an idiot. He still it just felt so pathetic.
Yeah.
Like he just
He's
knew
kind of
he was
whiny.
Yeah. And so it's one of those things where I just love the way that Ransome played it, and I have to give him a lot of credit for making me almost feel bad for him. Mm-hmm. So anyway, just one of those things where, and I like White Mike and how he closes out. Well, he's like, I thought we were friends. He's like, well, take a walk, my friend. So I thought that was a nice button on the scene. So
that was.
Yeah. So now we can see that. And I think you were talking about this before about why did Ziggy care about going to see the Greek? So obviously Ziggy is playing outside the lines.
Yeah.
And he's breaking the law. He's trying to sell drugs to make money. And so he's trying to get these ins into like what will make his life easier and doing this or whatever else. So he clearly doesn't want to work for a living.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah.
All right. The dock boys seem to be leaving for the day, and they're kind of talking about all the shit that they've been through, and Frank says that wants a war.
Yeah.
Apparently he's going to get one.
Yeah.
So,
I think they're leaving jail.
Oh, they're leaving jail?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Because I think they were all in jail.
Because they were all in jail for being drunk.
Yep.
Okay, driving drunk.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at this point, we know it's definitely on. There's going to be retribution.
Yeah.
Next thing we know, Horseface is like jimmying the lock for this white van, it looks like a rape van, but it's not. But
well, it's a surveillance van.
Okay, so we don't know that in that moment, right? Like in that moment, I'm like, what is going on with this van? Because you don't know it's like a surveillance van. Anyways, we go to Valchek. Man, that guy is just moving all over town. Where he's like in this abandoned, broke ass looking building that must be there on the docks. I'm guessing nearby, right? And basically, Valchek's CID has been assembled and has arrived. And who's going to be in charge? Presbalewski.
Yep.
He doesn't look so sure about that,
no.
But that's what he's going to do. And I think Valchek says he's a prodigy. He's a prodigy.
Yeah.
Goddamn prodigy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did you notice who else was in the unit?
Yeah. So hold on. Somebody else was familiar in there. Who else was in it?
Detective Polk.
Oh
the
my God!
drunk
No.
From season 1. Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
Polk's in there.
He's the guy who says who signs the overtime slips.
That's
which
right.
is what he said.
Oh my
in episode,
God!
episode
I
2.
forgot that was Polk.
Yep.
Oh. So he couldn't throw himself down the stairs. Apparently,
couldn't do it. He landed somewhere else. Yeah.
Jesus. Oh, that's terrible. Okay, well, now the dock guys, are looking into the back of what we find out is a surveillance van, right? And so I'm guessing it must be in Valchek's purview,
yep.
Right? And they roll it into a shipping container, and they put a Union bumper sticker on the back and close it up.
Yep.
And that's where we are with Sabotka versus Valchek.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Shall I go to the Greeks, or would you like to expound
on
that?
Not a lot of complexity to that scene, so yeah.
All right. So let's go now to the Greeks because, we see Spiros and the guy with glasses at the very beginning, but then we don't see them again until the very end of this episode, right? Mm-hmm. So, okay. We see Sergei. He goes to the port in Philly to where the Atlantic light is, right? That same one. We see that same scene with the stairs on the side of the ship and the ropes hanging down. And he's just looking at the stairs and he's just kind of sitting in the car, right? And then we're on the ship. Some guy says, Amir, why don't we sail? Ship's being held. Okay, so this guy's like, okay, that's not good. And this man, whoever he is, he goes down the stairs and off the ship, and then Sergei follows him in the car. And suddenly there's more guys like that are chasing him on foot, and they catch him and they beat the shit out of him, and then they put him in the car. And the next thing we see of him is that he's buck naked and he is sitting on a chair and he's being beaten. And he says, "Se parakalo," which ends up being Turkish for please.
Yep.
And
I had that written down.
Oh, sorry, I had to look it up.
Yeah.
I had to know. Anyways, so we have Spiros, and the guy with the glasses is there, right? And he appears to be in charge, and he comes down. He seems to be, a little bit kinder, more benevolent. Stop beating him, get his clothes.
Mm-hmm.
He tries to figure out what language he's speaking. The guy says that he doesn't speak English, which is, of course, not true. And then he sees a tattoo that reveals that he's Turkish. And we find out he was the shepherd. That's the thing that Beattie was telling us earlier.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one who let the women out. He calls them putana. So I'm guessing that's like something to do with being a whore.
Yep.
Because putang, that must be where that comes from.
Sure.
Putang, yeah. I mean, putana.
Can't be coincidence.
Gotta be pretty close.
Yeah.
Okay. He says, he wanted to make some money, and so he let the sailors sleep with the women there.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't even say that. It's more like probably like rape. One of these sailors was rough with one of the women, and she died. And so I kind of got confused about what else he was saying. Like, then there was another man who killed the rest. It was hard for me to understand what he was saying beyond that point.
Okay.
I was not clear on whether they were like trying to protect that sailor by then killing the rest of the women and making it seem like suffocation. But anyways, doesn't matter. Spiros slits his neck. Blood all going down. And the guy that Spiros is talking to, the guy who's clearly in charge, he says each of them would have brought in $250,000 a year. And, then he's like, there'll be other girls. And it says about this man they've just killed, no fingerprints, no face.
Yep.
Sergei says, okay, I could do that.
Okay. Yeah, so just to clarify, so the guy, the other man, okay, so let me. I'll just tell you now.
I'm confused.
No, I won't tell you. I won't tell you this part. So the guy with the glasses says, I will mention though, he is in episode 1 when Ziggy goes to the table, goes and sits at the counter. He is sitting at the counter with him.
You're right, Chris. So, yes, he's the guy that kind of takes his stuff and shoves it over to the side when Ziggy sits down next to him.
Good memory. So exactly. Okay. So this isn't the first time we see him, but in any case, okay. So he says to. The guy's name is Sam Choxy, is the guy tied up.
Okay.
He says, so you kill this one woman, so you kill them all. And the guy says, no, another man killed the one woman that ended up in the water.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that's who he's talking about.
Okay.
But he killed the other, he was the one who banged down the pipe. Because,
he did?
Yeah, because he didn't want them to know, or he knew that the girls knew that this murder happened.
I see.
And so...
Okay. Now I get it.
And then just to rewind a little bit, I'm not sure if this was already clear to you, but when Spiros is talking to Frank at the diner, Spiros says we were waiting for somebody to call and say everything was okay, and he never called. This is the guy that never called. That's why they went down to Philly in the first place, because they were waiting to understand what happened to him or what happened. And so he was trying to run, and so they knew that, well, clearly you did something.
Yeah, you're guilty,
So that's kind of the whole story.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. So I'm finally adding some value. Ellie did not figure it out ahead of time this time.
I was confused.
And so...
Okay.
So, and you picked up Se parakalo, which is please. And so... so I did want to just add a little bit of detail because, I think we take it for granted that you can have a naked guy bleeding to death and without him actually bleeding to death, right? Like the notion of like, how do you have somebody naked and have blood spurting out of their neck without being able to see it? And there's no CGI or anything like that that's happening. So there's a story about this. So, and basically what they did was they ran a tube of this blood
solution,
up through the back of the chair, and then the guy puts his hand to it, and it's up on under his arm, and he puts his hand to his neck, and then they just start pumping blood out of the thing. So Paul Ben Victor, who is plays Spiros, he has a story. He says he's tied up in the chair, and when I slit his throat, we had this whole blood rig that was geared up to his throat, so it would be nice and bloody. the first time we did it, when we rehearsed it in the moment, the actor who was playing the victim there, he really got into it. When I grabbed him, he really struggled from me and got out of hand. We lost our rhythm and the blood went everywhere and it didn't really work. So we had to do that whole thing twice, including having to clean him up and get everything all rigged up again. So just kind of a funny thing. And, you know, it's just like, I don't know
Maybe
why
that's
I
our
like that
cameo.
story. Yeah.
Killer cameo.
Well, see, stealing once again, Ellie, and taking
sorry.
No, that's okay. But yeah, so it is. But it is kind of, it's kind of amazing to me. Again, like they have this realism that they add to it, and they go through these relatively extraordinary lengths to make it look real. And the fact they didn't have to have the guy naked,
right?
But it does. It just adds to kind of the ruthlessness of the Greeks and that kind of thing. So, yeah, and so that's it. There was one other note. I'm putting this here because I still can't quite square it. So if you have thoughts, please let us know. But when they're beating the crap out of this guy, the camera shows some other person. It looks like a guard looking and watching, and I'm like,
he's just like kind of eating something.
Yeah, he's just staring and he doesn't react. And I'm like, what is happening here? So it's still to this day. I mean, we can ultimately speculate, but it was something that was just kind of interesting that they just dropped that there. So and you know what? Maybe it'll play a role. Maybe it won't. Maybe I don't know. So but in any case, so I just thought that was kind of interesting. And so yeah, and then that's the end of the show. They can chew you up and. But they didn't really spit him out. They just chewed him up. So
just chewed him up.
Real bad. You know, and we have a whole extra thread. I thought we were coming to the end, but we're actually coming to the episode. Now we have one more thread. So
we got to get to Mark's.
I was like, we have all this time. We're only an hour in. Okay, all right, Lynn, let's go.
All right. So we start with Brianna, and she is talking to Avon at the prison, and she is giving him the 411 on the Roberto situation, and she tells him we need more drugs to sell in the projects. We're barely hanging on there, and Avon says, call this guy Vargas in Atlanta. Okay, she's going to do that, but she is not happy with Avon that Donette has not checked in on Dee and brought their son. And she's like, he took 20 years. So this is where we find out, just how bad the situation is for Dee. Avon says Dee's been cold to him, right? So doesn't want to talk to him at all. Is what was the idea that we get here.
Yep.
But, Avon says he's going to take care of it. He's going to get Stringer on this situation and blah, blah, blah. That's Avon.
You seen D'Angelo lately?
He on the J tier. You know what I mean? It's very difficult for me to get over there,
So you ain't checking on him? And Donette's out and about. I don't know what's what anymore.
And what's up with Donette?
I leave messages, she ain't calling back.
Well, she ain't had her ass down here regular neither.
We need to tighten shit up, Avon. I mean, she should be bringing his son by every week.
Yeah, I'm gonna put string on that too.
After all he has done for us, Dee needs to be cared for, Avon. Promises were made. No. He took the 20. He ain't complaining. But he is carrying a lot of weight for this family.
And we keeping him close. Dee being cold toward me right now. He and this motherfucker trying to make adjustments and shit.
Adjustments?
Brianna, you know damn well I ain't gonna let shit happen to him, right?
Weebay, he's in jail too. And his cell is getting tossed.
Yep.
They are pulling down posters. They knock over his fish tank with his little plastic fish. He's so sad about that. We know he loves his fish. He can't even have real fish. He's just gonna have plastic fish, and he can't even have the plastic fish. So, anyways, are they looking for drugs in there, or what? Are they just? I mean, I know this guy. We find out this guy has a vendetta against Weebay, but is there something in particular that they're going for?
I mean, I think that they're just looking for any kind of contraband. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well. There we go. Weebay gets to visit Avon somehow. Some guard takes him over there. Avon's got all the hookups because he's eating KFC in there. And let's see here. Weebay kind of tells him about what's been happening. And this was a little confusing to me, too, because Avon's like, we're going to just bring more stuff. We're going to keep bringing more stuff in. So I didn't quite get that. But then, Avon is like, what is going on with this guy? Why is he being so rough on you? And we find out that particular correctional officer Tillman has a vendetta against Weebay because it sounds like Weebay killed his cousin Ladante. Okay, so there we go.
Yeah, sit down. Get yourself something to eat, man.
Nah, man, I ain't hungry, eh?
What? Crazy, this good shit, man. Better get in this.
Nah.
Look, man. If you tear your room down, man, we keep bringing more stuff in. It's gonna get so we can't tear it down fast enough. You feel me?
Fuck with my fish, though, man. You ain't have to go there, man.
What's up with this motherfucker?
You remember LaDante? Burner from over the pole homes finally caught him at Carver, parking lot after school.
We did that?
All right, Tillman was LaDante's cousin and some such. He found out I ate the charge. He busted my chops.
LaDante? I can't even remember that one. You need a scorecard to keep up with your lethal ass.
But Avon, he fixing to stay in my shit.
Listen, I'm gonna talk to him, all right? I'm gonna set it straight. All right? What's his name again?
Tillman, he worked the day shift when Jade's here.
I seen him around.
Yo, man, all these COs is fronting and shit. You got the guards bringing your meals in. This punk motherfucker Tillman running around acting righteous, but he bringing shit in here steady slinging on the side.
Don't fret, all right? It's nothing. I'm gonna take care of it.
So let's get back. What is that? Bringing more stuff? What is he talking about?
Well, I mean, basically
just
all of
that stuff that's in there.
Yeah, you're just.
So he's just like, we're gonna he keeps tearing it down. We're just gonna bring some more stuff in, and he just. Okay.
I mean, pretty much like the KFC kind of to me is like an indicator of that,
Yeah.
right? How did Avon get KFC in prison? I don't know, but however that got in, all this other stuff gets in too. Like those posters and the fish tanks and none of that is in the commissary,
right? No.
So clearly they're able to smuggle it in somehow, and so that just would continue to get smuggled in.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
Yeah. I just wanted to point out though, there's something. I don't know. I don't know what the word is. But I just love how the guard comes over. He brings Weeby over to Avon's cell. And he's like, I got to bring him back. I got to have him back by 6. And Avon does this little point, which I don't know. I just like that point. He's like, yeah, no problem. I appreciate this. I thank you, man. I just thought that was like, the guard shows him some respect and Avon kind of shows it back. And I just feel like there's something kind of cool about that. I don't know why, but yeah. And then Weebay, man, he fucked with my fish. He didn't have to go there.
He didn't have to go there.
I don't know why. It's so funny to think like why he would take it so personally. But I guess there's something probably, very real about the fact that when you're in prison for life, you're trying to find your humanity as best as you can.
Right.
And that's his Weebay's connection to his humanity, no matter how much he's a sociopath, so.
Yeah, I know. It's just so strange. His love for the fish is like,
this
is one thing that I really like about him. It's so humanizing. But you're right. He's a sociopath.
Yeah. And so, of course, just in case this wasn't clear, Ellie figured it out, 17 episodes ago, but nevertheless, so when he said, I ate the charge, I'm guessing that's part of the plea deal that he was arranging at the end of last season. So you got that. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
There's another moment in there too, where Avon's like, how many guys have you smoked or something like that too, where it's just kind of like, oh my God, like how many guys has he killed?
Yeah. Well, and I mean, the funny thing is that, I don't know if this was intentional or not, but he says, I don't even remember that one. And that's what Santangelo said about the case that McNulty and Bunk brought him when they arrested Bird. He's like, I don't even remember this one. I don't know if that was on purpose, but it just because it's not really like an uncommon phrase, but it is kind of funny that they I don't remember that. But yeah, but again, it might be more kind of ironic in that Weebay was trying to take all these murders, thinking that he's going to relieve the Barksdale organization and now he's like suffering because who knows if he actually killed the guy or not. He just copped to it regardless, just to take the police, make the police happy. So just kind of interesting.
Yeah. So Avon's going to try to smooth things over by talking to Tillman about, leaving Weebay alone. But the minute he tries to talk to Tillman, he says no.
Yeah.
No, just straight up and just walks up the stairs. And I don't think Avon's very used to that.
Nope.
No, he's not.
Nope.
But it's good for him. All right. Sometimes people need to. Need to hear the word no.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say that to his face.
I wouldn't to his face either.
I'd say no, sir. Or sorry, I can't help you, motherfucker.
Exactly. All right. Okay, Stringer comes to the prison. He sees Avon in the yard on the other side of the fence. He tells him the whole thing with Atlanta and this extra source of drugs has worked out. Oh, yeah. Avon tells him, we have a problem with a CO named Tillman.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen to Tillman and his family now, but I'm worried about it. He does tell Stringer, find Donnette, have her bring the baby to see Dee, and Stringer asks him if Dee's kind of like, if he's turning away or something like that. And Avon says, no, he's family, and really emphatically says he's family. That will not happen.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and I'll just rewind here to, he was the end of the scene with Brianna, but he said, damn well, I ain't going to let anything happen to him, right?
Right.
And it just, even in here, even if Avon sees Dee as being cold to him, he's still really, he's really trying to do his best to kind of care for him as best he can.
Right.
He's in a different tier, and there's nothing really that he can do about the distance, and so he's trying to do his best, but it's going to be up to D'Angelo to try to get his head right. Whereas for Avon, the transition was seemingly a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, well, I mean, he might need to do a better job, because when we check in on Dee, he is snorting the crack cocaine. And, Avon is only there for a moment, tells him, you and me got to talk.
Mm-hmm.
Or you and me going to need to talk.
Mm-hmm.
And Dee is numb.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is how he's dealing with it, is to just check out.
Yep.
Yeah, and he was not somebody that ever really used the product before, from what we've seen, and so it's sad.
Yeah,
it's scary.
Yep.
Yeah,
definitely is. And I think that, as we've kind of talked about, drugs are an act of. There's a lot that goes into it. Mm-hmm. It's not just like people that have, a death wish, or kind of a Johnny who are looking for a way out.
Right.
It can. There are all kinds of motivations that can lead you to using drugs, and so yeah, it's and it's unfortunate, because he was, he felt like he was as kind of, what's the word? Not noble, but there was something kind of, there was a little bit of nobility to him, and he was trying to stay above the fray, try to play it with a little bit of respect for other people, and so on and so forth. And
he seemed compassionate.
Yes,
to a certain degree.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. So, but now that's where he is now, and so we'll see where it goes.
Okay. Well, the only little teeny tidbit that was not discussed yet is just Daniels. Lieutenant Daniels has a moment there with Marla. They are walking. It's evening, and she's like, "I'm sorry if I made you upset," and he says, "You're right, and that I can't get any lower than I am right now." And this is a situation where he's been chewed up, but he decides he'll spit himself out, I guess, in that he is going to leave the force. Yeah. He tells her, right? And potentially work as a lawyer or something like that. He's got a law degree. So, and with his background on the force, that he would be very desirable, is what Marla says.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, nothing else for him this episode.
That's
but
it.
Yeah. So it's just interesting to see where that's going to go too.
I am very curious to see where that goes, because if he leaves, and how are they going to weave him in to the rest of the story? We need him for evidence and all that stuff, I feel like. So, yeah.
Yep. Well, yeah, and that gets us to the end. So now we get to see, that gets to go into part of your predictions.
Right.
But, okay, I did want to back up. If you don't mind, I'm going to back all the way up
to
the very beginning. I did want to just share this one story from Ed Burns.
Okay.
This is from All the Pieces Matter. Because we talked about, getting this container ship full of women. How do you get it off the ship without anybody noticing?
Mm-hmm.
And Burns was, as part of the pre-production work, was meeting with the union people, and he's talking with union management. So he says, I know this. I knew the story in my head. He had in his mind. Sorry, this is me talking, but he had in his mind that it was going to revolve around these containers getting off the dock somehow. So he said, I knew the story in my head. We went to management, and after they gave us this whole dog and pony show, I said, can you steal one of these things off the docks? No way. Fuck. then we went to the bar that night where the longshoremen were. Same question. Can you steal? The guy says, which one do you want? And everything was afloat from that. So I just thought that was kind of funny that that the longshoremen know what time it is. And so then they figured it all out. So, not that it really, anybody who's been watching so far needs to be reminded, but this is a story where they really try to hew towards realism. Burns did talk about, like, the characters are not exact replicas of people that they knew, because he said that the problem is that those people it's just a relentless life. There's no arc really in a lot of these scenarios. It's just the same thing day after day, and nobody would ever want to watch a TV show like that.
Yeah.
So you have to build it where there's, like, the rise and fall of characters and so on. But everything else, they really try to stick with reality. So I just thought that was a cool story. And, of course, that is how the whole Doc Port's storyline goes. So just kind of interesting thing about that. So yeah, okay, that gets to the end of the episode. I have to admit, the Mr. Nugget's life lesson, I was struggling with this. I mean, there's some, like, I was like, can't fight City Hall, right? Like, Frank Sabotka, I don't care how mad you are.
Yeah.
Valchek is a dick.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's already fucking with your life. Like, why piss him off more?
Don't die on this hill, man.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know. I mean, I don't like that, because it's like, just give the dickhead with power what he wants. But at the same time, it's a good lesson to remind yourself, like, hey, is this a battle worth fighting?
I know.
It's a window in a church.
Move the
probably
window to the
not
rectory.
worth dying for. And if you get a policeman to help, on your side, it's probably not the worst thing. You just got to set your pride aside. So I guess that's probably, that's what they say is, pride goeth before the fall. So
yes,
he's, anyway, that I'm trying to think of, like, what else. Don't do 14 shots. Don't do 14 shots.
Don't do 14 shots
in one night.
No.
I mean, don't do 14. I feel like in a month, that's a lot. That's just me, though. I mean,
yeah, that's. I don't know how somebody survives that.
Right.
I would die. Somebody had to take me to the hospital.
I should.
14 shots.
Yeah, I gotta say, like, what would your? I'm gonna write this out. What would your blood alcohol content be if you did 14 shots? 14 shots.
Oh my God, I don't even know.
But I will say, and this is my own life experience. No, that can't be right.
What?
It's at 0.02%. Oh, 0.02%. I don't know what that meant. No, that can't be right. That would be ridiculous.
Right. That's too low.
No, Bing, you failed me.
Wait, no, that's 4.
Anyway, doesn't matter.
Okay.
It would be a lot. But I will say, from my own experience, if you ever hear somebody say, let's do shots, bad things are going to happen.
Yeah,
agreed. And if anybody brings out Fireball, bad things are going to happen.
No,
so just those are not related to the story. That's I love Jameson, and I would recommend Jameson, but doing 14 shots. So I don't know. I'm just kind of dancing around. I guess the same thing, but at the same the same thing. It's like Officer Tillman. I just like Weebay. Like I don't know. I guess that was just like that's a guy who's drunk on power, and there was no negotiating with him. So,
yeah.
I don't know. Ellie,
the lesson
I'm really
is
struggling.
to eat the crab gut. It's good for you.
Okay. And don't fuck with a man's fish. Also,
don't
good one.
fuck with a man's fish.
Is that good? Okay.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, fair enough then. Okay, I don't know. I'll probably think of something after when I re-listen to this. So
We'll tell everybody next time.
Okay, and then next category topic is killer cameos. We talked about this already.
Yeah.
Robert Norris. I don't see a name for him, but
okay.
And I thought he was pretty good.
I thought he was pretty good.
I liked his when he's like no Bill. I like that part.
Yes.
But then he's like, you look like you could use a good cup of coffee. I didn't really like that delivery, so I'm not giving it to him.
Yeah,
and
that was a little weak.
And as Ellie said, Sam Choxey, the shepherd, he's the one who gets the killer cameo. And the fact that he dies, he gets a bonus point for that. His name was Gerard Ender. So I was, and he really sold it. He really sold it. I was like, that was very impressive.
He had to be naked.
And he had to be naked.
Yeah,
and
that's
exactly.
tough.
So that's my killer cameo.
Okay.
I mentioned the music. And we talked about Weebay eating the charge from episode 13, and that was the callback. So now just a real quick. So now we have pretty much everybody from the first season, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I don't know if we're going to see Chardine come back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Poot?
No, we haven't seen Poot yet. Okay. You're right. You're right.
All right. That's the only ones I can think of.
Yeah. Okay.
I haven't seen for a while.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but otherwise, like now, everybody's back together, and we're all good. So we're going to see where it goes.
Woo-hoo.
Okay, so Ellie, of course, last 2 questions. How well did the episode hold up to you? Is it still on, Last time you said you're not quite sure.
I'm not quite sure still.
Okay.
I mean, I think, there is some stuff here about the political angling, getting Burrell to police commissioner. And I do think that stuff still happens. Boy, I would hope that this shoveling of cases to you, I know it's your jurisdiction, probably still does happen. It probably still does. I wish it would not, but I'm sure it does. Yeah. It's like once the case is theirs, then they don't want anybody else to meddle in it.
Mm-hmm.
But before it belongs to anybody, they don't want it.
Right.
It's very frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the notion of covering your ass is a tale as old as time at this point. Yeah.
It is.
I'm going to bring something up here, and it's unedited, so I just. You know me well enough to know that my intentions are generally good.
Okay.
So this comes off as
Brace
being
myself.
well, so you mentioned that when the women were let out of the can.
Yeah.
And they were paying for sex.
Yes.
And you mentioned that they were being raped.
Yeah.
Now, now we don't know the specifics.
Yes.
But I was just thinking, like, if it's sex work, and they are getting paid, is that so? Because let me just I'll finish my thought real quick because I think since this episode aired, the notion of sex work has taken on there's a very different perspective on it now, which I just think is quite interesting. So, and I think a lot of I've seen it even recently, people talking on the Wire subreddit about how these women were raped. But there's no actual. It's hard. We don't know whether it was forcible sex or consensual with pay.
Right.
So I don't know that part. I thought was just that part to me struck me as interesting.
Mm-hmm.
In that, like, they were talking about the sex work back then and I don't know if it was with some kind of compassion or at least some kind of, like, there wasn't judgment, I guess, involved.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm trying to, for whatever reason, I shouldn't be trying to sugarcoat a situation like this, but you know what I mean? I guess I'm just not sure.
Yeah, I get you. It's just, I think for me, it's like in this case, though I think the women are coming over because they want a better life. Like they're being controlled and pimped out. It's Spiros who says, I'm going to make $250,000 off of each one. So and it's the guy on the boat who wants to make some extra money, not the women who are like, so that makes me feel like they don't have control in the situation and they're not sex workers then.
Okay. You're right. Yeah. I should not have even gone down that road. Cause I mean,
even when I said rape, like I held back for a moment before I said it because I was too like processing, like, is it that? But, I just can't imagine that situation is consensual for them.
It's, you're 100% right. And I don't know why I didn't think about this until now after I said that. But, like, one of the women didn't want to have sex and was killed.
Yes, exactly.
So it's not, there's no way it's consensual. Like, even if, like, it's not forciable.
Right. Even
if
the other ones didn't fight back.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. So. Sorry, you were correct. It was rape on okay.
No, it's good. Thanks for being vulnerable and asking the question. I think that a lot of other people probably have it too.
Okay.
And that is probably one way that it has not aged as well in that maybe. I don't know.
I mean, sex trafficking is still a huge problem.
It's still a huge problem. But I do think that, there is nowadays more acceptance of sex work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well.
Than there was then.
Yeah, no, but it caught in my mind. Well, I'm glad we had the conversation. I'm glad you didn't toss me out of your studio for being an asshole. So,
no,
okay, cool.
Not at all.
All right, well, thank you, Ellie, as always. Ellie and I have wonderful conversations quite a lot, and I'm not even drunk.
So deep.
Normally,
I know. Usually he has a few, and then Professor Chris comes out. Indeed.
Okay, well, Nostradamus, let's hear your prediction. I mean, I know
I'm pretty clueless this time around. I'm going to be honest with you.
Oh yeah.
Well, okay. So for the Jane Doe case, I think they're going to start finding out some identities a little bit from these from the luggage and the photos, and maybe they'll talk to somebody that knew one of the women and get some more information that way. Maybe not. I don't know. That's one thing I'm thinking here. Obviously, with Sabotka and Valchek, that's going to keep ramping up. Stealing a surveillance van is really, whoa, that's pretty bad. I'm not sure, but now we know that the CID is there, right? So they're going to be spying on these guys or watching them and taking all these notes. I'm not sure if I can't pull out anything specific for that one.
Okay.
Barksdale crew. Something's going to happen bad to Tillman or a family member or something. Somebody's going to blow up his car. Or I don't know. Something bad is going to happen with Tillman.
Okay.
That's all I got, man.
I mean, you have 4 predictions,
okay.
So that's
okay.
that's pretty good.
Okay.
But let me lead. I'm going to lead you very gently.
Lead.
So you were talking about like trying to find the identities. Anything else? Now Freeman and Bunker on the case.
Freeman and Bunker.
So
yeah, but
anything?
Because like the guy that was the shepherd on the ship, he's dead now, right? Mm-hmm. So they go there, they talk to the captain, or not the captain, but that other. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe that other guy will reveal something.
Okay.
About the women on the ship and having seen them or what happened with them or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as I said, 4 predictions is quite a lot, I think. Yeah. So, last time,
we'll see how my rate is.
Yeah. So, ultimately, I still think that's, you covered quite a lot of areas. So
it's
so
a
good
lot
for you
to
there.
cover.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that brings us to the end. So, no collateral damage here, and then no shoot up. Nobody else got shoot up instead of so,
not yet.
But otherwise, well, Ellie, as always, thank you so much for an excellent episode.
My pleasure, sir.
All right. Well, we will be back next week with episode 3. Season 2, episode 3, Hot Shots.
Hot Shots.
Yeah. Not the movie.
Okay.
With Charlie Sheen and Lori Bridges. So, but yeah, okay. And so we'll see you all next week. Ellie, thank you as always.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. It was fun.
Right. Okay. See you next week.
Bye, guys.
The Wired and Rewired podcast is Ellie Peterson and me, Chris Aronchek. Our theme song is Nice Vibes by Neon Beach. Want to holler at us? You can email us at wiredandrewired@gmail.com or hit us on the burner at 240-488-0060 to leave us a voicemail. We're Wired and Rewired on all the socials. And of course, if you like the show, please give us a rating and review on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. It helps other Wire fans discover the show. And until next time...
You want love, you come and sit on my lap.